Today we're going to be talking about the hot investment known as ARK ETF. Except it ain't so hot anymore, but it's a phenomenal example of how hype and amazing things can catch people off guard, make them think that this is the smartest thing they've ever done, and then watch all their money go downhill. And I'm not joking. This was a fund that kind of just put on glasses, looked all cool, and was like, hey, baby, I'm going to make you 100% plus returns, baby. I'm going to make you rich. I'm going to make it rain. And everybody got hyped over it. We're talking about ARK ETF, baby, hot tech fund. And it has negative 60% year-to-date return. Now, this is an ETF and invests in innovative, amazing, just like mind-blowing tech companies, the next generation of all the cool things that the world will rely on, whether it's healthcare, social media, computers in general, etc. This is the hot ETF. And it's actively managed by a brilliant investor, Cathie Wood. And now it has a high expense ratio, 75 basis points, 0.75%, but it's worth it, baby. If you're getting fascinating returns like this, look at this, 2020. Cathie Wood's ARK Innovation becomes largest actively managed ETF amid 170% 2020 returns. Now you might say, John, didn't you just say it's down 60% year to date? Oh, we're getting there. If you look at the time, though, this is 2020. We're going back just about a year or so, year or two. And, that is a different time period, different time where this wasn't a thing. But back then, this was the hot ETF. Cathie Wood was talking about her successful playbook, getting all kinds of positive press. Cathie Wood, the best investor you've never heard of. Ooh, doesn't that sound so good? Doesn't sound so good? Leading a list of 10 funds, top 10 funds in total return in recent years. Over the past 3 years, returning a whopping 165%. More than doubling your money in 3 years. That's insane. Ooh, look at this bad boy. This tenfold growth and 740% stock gain. Cathie Wood's breakout year by the numbers. Boom. Cathie Wood amasses $50 billion and a new nickname, Money Tree. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's all good, baby. ARK's Cathie Wood schools Warren Buffett with 3 top stocks. That is unbelievable. I mean, how would you not like this fund, guys? Look at all those that positive press. Now look, time to talk about finance. You're supposed to learn something from this. That was the 2020-2021 era, huh? We're in 2022, aren't we? And back then when things were good, people gave positive press to this thing. It was the hot thing. It was exciting. It was tech too. Tech has an allure around it, a real sexy vibe. Whether it's biotechnology, fintech, etc., it's something that just kind of draws you in. It warms the soul. However, what if we fast forward, guys? What if we fast forward here? Look at its performance over time, guys. Here it is. Here's the graph I'm looking for. Here is how the fund did. And if we look at it, where's the positive press? Oh, it's all right here. When things were really good, wasn't it? When things were good, the good press came in a reactionary manner, letting you know after the good news came out, things were good. And everybody bought in. And then it plummeted, right? It plummeted down from a peak of what, around $154 a share, down to $36 in the matter of a year and a half. That's brutal, man. That's brutal. And this really was the hot fund. And there will always be more hot funds like this. And you know what even the worst part is? You probably think right now that I'm just going to warn you about chasing hot funds, and I am. You're right. I'm going to tell you that there's always going to be a winning fund. There's always going to be a best fund, factually speaking. There's always going to be a number one. And so something like this with ARK drawing a ton of attention to it, and Cathie Wood, a particular fund manager that draws a lot of attention naturally to herself, loves getting the media's eyes on her, that can happen again. But there's a second story, a more cynical one I want to tell you, that doesn't actually fully highlight how damaging this is. This is from Morningstar. It's a beautiful, beautiful, damning chart. And if you look at this for a moment, you realize what it's saying. It tells you something horrific. This is the ETF flows and performance. The purple line tells you, how's it doing? How's it doing? And then the blue line, the blue here, the bars here, let you know how much money is going in and out of the fund. If you look at this, when it's rocking it, this is January 2021, around there, Let's go over here. Where's January 2021? Oh, that's right at the peak. Guess when most of the money was being put into the fund? Right before a horrific death. That's right. Right before it just plummeted, people bought into the hype. Right? It got so high, how could you not be in it? But that's what makes this such a horrible story. Not only is it a great example of a hype fund, something that blows your mind that you want, it was about that people bought in and added to the fund's overall exposure, not just buying the share, but actually creating new shares, injecting new money into the fund, allowing Cathie Woods to manage even more money. I think I've been saying Cathie Woods. It's Cathie Wood. Forgive me. I might keep slipping it up. That's an aside. Forgive me in advance. You don't need to leave a comment. You can leave a comment and roast me on it, but you don't technically have to. You can just leave a like instead. Anyways, but the worst part about this fund is that people made sure to buy in at the absolute worst time. They absolutely bought in at the hype, but they got to the point where they just couldn't stand the pressure to not be in it. And as a result, they lost tons. They didn't get the gains. Instead, they bought probably a rock bottom performing fund. They bought it and probably got a minus 50 to 60 to 70%. Ooh, that's absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. What's your takeaway here? It's really simple. There'll always be another hype investment. Don't chase it. Statistically speaking, index funds outperform actively managed funds. I think there is great wisdom from John Bogle, who founded Vanguard, created the first market-weighted index fund, that when he said that people do have the gambler itch. So if you have 5% of your portfolio in fund stuff, speculative stuff, that's okay. But really, 95, if not 100%, should be sitting in index funds because, statistically speaking, over the long term, they outperform the average actively managed fund. That's my lesson for the day. If you liked it, hit subscribe below, and I'll see you in the next video. Shout out to Mark D33, Doxy7, McRandar, and Maxify Guy for the generous support on Patreon.